from your perspective, what are the most critical issues that we need to understand about family violence in ethnic communities?
Sure. So I guess just to reframe it in terms of, or put context on how we work. So we work, the framing, we don't use the language family violence. We use the framing violence against women and girls, which is very much within the way that the UN operates. So it's very much in line with the global context, because for us it's also a human rights issue, and so it's quite important that we place it in that context, both from a service delivery perspective and a campaigning and lobbying perspective. And I know that the language is different in New Zealand. I'm kind of struggling to get my head around it a little bit. But in terms of the, I suppose, critical issues, first is understanding that there are commonalities across the piece. So the way that women experience violence, for example, in an intimate partner setting, you know, where you have physical assault or you have coercive control, etc., etc. You know, there are going to be similarities across communities, across a range of cultural contexts, across, you know, your different, you know, geographical locations. But there are also differences. And in many ways, it's important for us to highlight both the commonalities and differences. We highlight the commonalities to make sure that we resist the urge to make violence against women and girls in minority communities the exotic or a strange thing that needs to go unchallenged because of culture or religion or any of those things, or minimized, you know, or become something that's really fascinating. You know, like people get really fascinated around forced marriage, and we go, it's, you know, we're talking about children and we're talking about women. So the commonalities are important, but the differences are really important because we need to understand what has to be done in terms of service delivery. So one of the things that Imkaan we're really aware of is, for many women from minority communities, what this might look like is, I'm not just fleeing my partner, I'm fleeing my family, my extended family, I'm fleeing community members, and that you need to know that if you're going to do things like an appropriate risk assessment, you need to know that you're dealing with sometimes highly motivated perpetrators who will stop at nothing in terms of pursuing a woman. And that makes a difference in terms of risk assessment and actual service delivery. It makes a difference in terms of the campaigning and lobbying piece, because it also means that we have to think about what does that mean for women in terms of service delivery, and who should be doing that and how should we be doing that. So there are, I suppose, critically it's important to get in there and go, let's understand as much as we possibly can, but let's not make minority women strange or exotic, because that doesn't help anybody. So I think that's probably, that was quite a long answer, isn't it?
It was a full answer, because it's a complex issue, and one that we've also been looking at, the question of whether family violence is different in ethnic communities, and what are some of the cultural mediators and so forth. So that's great. Thank you.